Hi, 303. My name is Jolie, and I am going to be your instructor for this 303 class. Originally, it was supposed to be another instructor, but he was unable to do it. So about a week before class started, I got this class. I have taught 303 a bunch of times. I've been teaching here since 2018, and I primarily teach 302, 303, and then maybe a families class as well, because I'm kind of I'm one of the child development kind of people here. That's my area of expertise, is in childhood, specifically in children under the age of 5, but also I have worked quite a bit with adolescents as well. So this is going to be a study of adolescence and emerging adulthood, and we're going to be doing some more of our work in the precede-proceed model, which is in 302. Some of you are probably concurrently enrolled in that, so you're getting 302 and 303 at the same time, so you're being immersed in the world of 303. This is going to be the second part of that model. And for some of you, you took 302 maybe in the spring, and so you're having to jump back into kind of thinking through a community health framework. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share with my syllabus, because I remember when I was a student, that was all I cared about. So we are going to jump right into that. I'm going to go over the syllabus, and then I'm going to go into the assignments, because when I was a student, that was all I cared about either, was just tell me what I need to do. So this is me, Jolie Van Squake. You can just call me Jolie. I'm pretty informal. I know some people aren't. I am. So you can email me at jvansquake@csusm.edu. That would be the best way to get a hold of me. I'm going to check my emails probably 2 or 3 times a day, Monday through Friday, so expect a response within a business day. Pandemic, trying to have a better work-life balance. I'm going to really try to not be online on the weekends. I'm probably not the great on the weekends, but that's the life of a professor. But I'm going to try not to kind of do other work on the weekends, so I can spend it with my 3 daughters and my husband and my pandemic garden. That's what I've been doing a lot of this summer. So I'm going to kind of be trying to have some work-life balance, so I will not be checking my emails on the weekend. But I will be available Monday through Friday, of course, to answer any questions that you might have. Human development. Your 303s, I feel like your juniors or seniors, you probably know what this department is all about. You know what this life is about. You probably are now starting to think about what's going to happen after graduation and what you're going to do, and what grad schools might be like if you decide to go that route. So that's our mission statement. We, once again, are going to be using precede-proceed as a way to kind of look at the issues of adolescence and emerging adulthood. So this is basically ages 12-ish, 11-ish, all the way until, I don't know, what are you an adult? 29, 30, 35, 40? And we're going to jump into a lot of these issues about when does adulthood start legally, when does it start culturally, when does it start in society, when do you feel like an adult? And that's why we have this funny little phrase of emerging adulthood. It means that you are emerging into being an adult. I know that I really felt like an adult when I was 29 and a nurse put 2 babies into my arms and sent me home with my twins. And I got in the car and I was like, this is a mistake. Nobody should have let me go home with these children. But I needed to grow up real fast and become an adult, and now take care of these kids. So that's when I felt like an adult, was at 29. So we're going to look at the issues around adulthood and what does it mean in America in 2020 in the midst of a global pandemic. That adds a whole nother kink in the adulthood thing too, doesn't it? All right, so you're expected to spend 2 hours for every unit of the class. It's 3 hours. It's a 3-unit class, so you're going to be doing a lot of reading and writing in response to this class, looking at PowerPoints and also watching these short videos in order to get the course content, and then working on the larger assignments that are due as well. So you're going to have assignments every week, about 10 points. It might be a reading and a discussion board. It might be a reflection on something. There's going to be a lot of different assignments. A lot of it is going to be reading and writing though, and you'll get 10 points each week for completing that. We're going to have 3 precede-proceed model reflections. So we're looking at the second part of the precede-proceed model, or PPM, or model. So I'm going to give you empirical research. So I will give you some research that has already been peer reviewed, gone through the journal process, and is about this community intervention or community health model. You guys are going to read it, you're going to understand it, and then you are going to explain it to me. And you're going to explain it to me in a way other than writing. So Google Slides, podcasts, mock interviews, animated movies. I'll show you a little bit more about this. This class is focused on kind of the evaluation part of the PPM, and so that has to be part of the assignment, because that's what we're really looking at, is kind of not the pre-seed, but the proceed part is what we're looking at. Final exam, my final exams are super easy, multiple choice and true false. I don't even think I have fill in the blank. Lectures, readings, films, in-class activities, anything like that are on the table for what we're gonna have our final exam on. The week before, that's my review week. A whole week is review. I will give it to you 2 different ways, on like a Word document where you'll see the questions, and also in like a Kahoot or a quiz is something a little bit more interactive that you could do online as well. You're gonna have like 50 questions on there, 40 questions, and I'll pick 25 for the final. So easy peasy lemon squeezy. I don't wanna get I don't try to be tricky or anything like that. There's a certain amount of concepts and theory that I feel like you need to understand before you go out into the other classes or into the world. A lot of this is around child development theory. So this is my way of kind of testing to make sure that you have those concepts in theory so that you are able to pass the class and go on. I don't try to be tricky though, so you'll have a chance to see all of the questions and the week before, and then I'll pick 25 of those, and that will be your final exam. We're going to have a proposal paper as well, and that is a mock proposal, and this is showing me your ability to do a community intervention. And when I mock, I mean you're not actually going to do it. I mean, some people do. Some people use this professionally because they are working right now or will be working next year, or just have a nonprofit or a passion project that they want to work on. And so they're actually going to be using this. That's happened quite a bit, but you don't have to. That's not part of the assignment. So you're going to do a proposal paper. You're going to use the proceed model that Dr. Green started in the 1990s, and you're going to use this to make a change in your society or community. And I will show you a little bit more, and that's going to be a big part of the class, is this last proposal paper, which will be due way down at the end of class. You're also going to do an adolescent development paper, which will be due sooner in class, where you will write about adolescence and a domain of your choice, like fine motor or gross motor. I'll also go to that. This is the points. I'm probably off on my points. Math is not my strong suit, so I wouldn't trust my ability to do basic math. Speaking of that, grades. Your grades are on career courses. I never do like decimals, so you get a 10 out of 10, a 5 out of 10, 95 out of 100, something like that. So I never do decimals, so that makes it a little bit easier for me. And then I take everything that's on career courses, and my husband puts it in Excel, and then Excel and him help me do basic math so that I can figure out your grades, which I then put in career courses and post for you guys. All right, so these are the percentages, because Cal State has decided that there's got to be so many C minuses and C's and C pluses and things like that. Community colleges don't usually have that, and that's where I work as well. You're going to be writing a ton. So you're supposed to be writing at least 10 pages, but you have kind of 2 papers, and you're going to have probably some form of weekly writing each week. I think writing is very important, and the only way to be a better writer is to write more. Sorry, there's no easy hack around that one. You just write. And in this way, especially the more informal, weekly assignments are not as graded heavily. That is more for you to interact with theory and concepts and practice writing. Your papers are APA papers where, grammar and syntax will be part of that. I think being able to communicate effectively is really important, because you're going to be working with humans. So you got to talk to them. You have to be able to communicate with them, and writing is one of the ways that you communicate. So that's why you have those reflections where you're doing something other than writing, so you can practice your probably auditory or visual or ability to speak, but you also need to be able to write so that you can write emails and you can write policies and you can make proposals so that you can get money, because the only way that you're probably going to make change with humans is some kind of money behind you so that you have the materials and funding in order to make change in the world. You should have a computer. If you don't, there's the number. If you're really struggling, please let me know. I have resources, and the college have resources. Grading policy, please don't negotiate with me. Once again, I go offline in Excel. Please let me know if I've misgraded something you believe. If you have issues with the way that I have graded, you most likely won't. But if you do, please communicate with me, and please make sure that you're not turning anything late. So I'm really not going to be accepting late work. No, in addition to teaching 4 classes here and having children and learning how to teach online. I'm teaching at community colleges too. This class is cumulative. So we are learning about adolescence and then emerging adulthood. We're putting a lot of concepts and theories together within this framework of pre-seed, proceed model. There's a lot of course content. So you're not really going to understand the model specifically unless you're on every single week and you're doing the work every single week. So please get the work in, because I'm really not going to be accepting work if you get to Thanksgiving and you're like, oh damn, I haven't been on in a month. Well, you kind of just missed all of that work, and I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to work with you. But global pandemic, there are a lot of challenges out there. If things are rough for you, funerals, you're sick, your kid breaks your leg, whatever, you're an essential worker and you've just got off, 4 12-hour shifts, whatever it is, please contact me, because I can work with you. But I won't know unless you contact me and you let me know generally or specifically. It's up to you what's going on in your life. So I need to know so that I can help you, and I need to know why you have missed class. And you don't have to give me a note. I think some people are going to require that here, and that is totally fine. I am not. I just need to kind of be able to work with you, and that would be that you're going to have to contact me by email so that we can kind of know what's going on, so that we can either provide services, so I can help you with course content or whatever, so that we can get through this challenging time together, and you guys will still be successful in this class. Content warning a lot. We're working with children, families, and communities. We're going to be talking about abuse, sexual assault, violence, adverse childhood experiences. So there's a difficult and challenging topics, and for some of you that might be more difficult. So I would like you to understand and sit with your feelings. Easier said than done. I'm always trying to run away from or eat through my feelings. But you should be better than I am. Don't see me as your model in that. I'm available to you, so if you wanted to have a Zoom and just chat, that would be more than okay with me. We also have career care. We have a ton of support services. Mental health counseling, I think, is all on Zoom now. So you could be in your pajamas in bed and Zoom with somebody. Like, how amazing is that? So please know that there are resources. If you contact me, I can help you get those resources so you can take care of your own health, and you can be ready to kind of learn more and be able to help. Okay, plagiarism, don't plagiarize. Turnitin knows if you're plagiarizing. I would probably know too, because I have read a lot of things about childhood and theory and things like that. But Turnitin is really gonna know, so don't do it, because you are going to not get away with it, and then I will fail you on that assignment, and I will also let the department chair know. So this is the information all about disciplinary action, lowering grades. I will fail you on that if you are plagiarizing. Most people, if you don't understand APA, we have a writing center and tutors, which are also on Zoom now. So you could also be in your pajamas. You don't even have to have shoes on. You don't have to have makeup on. You don't have to have done your hair. You don't have to brush your teeth, because nobody can smell your breath through Zoom. So those are all the reasons that you should go to tutoring. I had to go to tutoring in community college because, once again, bad at math. My brain just doesn't think that way. I use tutors all the time. It took me a while to understand that I needed to do that, and then when I did, life was so much better. So if APA is the issue, and we are now, what, in the 7th? It's always changing. I will be willing to work with you. If you want me to read something, give me at least a week in order to look at it, but I can always go over it with you as well. Or we can do a Zoom where I generally show you APA, and then I can also point you in the directions of the tutors as well. ADA, this is class for all students. So if you have your verified disability, please let me know within the first 2 weeks of class so that I can make sure that we have all the accommodations that you need, because this is a class for everybody to be successful. Code of conduct, be nice. Just go a little bit more. Be respectful, appropriate conduct. We're going to be online. If you're going to use humor, I don't suggest that you do unless you're hysterically funny. And I don't suggest that you do unless you know how to use emojis and memes and people are going to understand your tone. Humor can be really hard. That's really the only issues I've ever had online. But you should be respectful. I've never really had a problem with it. Don't prove me wrong. But Cal State students are 99.9.8% amazing students, and I'm looking forward to working with all of you. So be nice, be kind to me and to everybody else in the class, and we will be doing great. This is the topics that we're going to be going over. Once again, this class was originally synchronous for 3 hours. I am not doing that. Mama ain't got time for that. And 3 hours is a really long time in a virtual assignment. It just doesn't work for me. Asynchronous works so much better. You can log on anytime that week, do the assignments that you need to do, get the course content, figure out the readings. It's totally up to you. Just need to email me during business week hours if you need help. So this is generally what we're going to be learning about. I even have play in there. That's going to be a fun week. Make sure you're on for that one. We're going to be talking about identity and sex and family and everything like that. Social media. I love this class. I love this class because it's so philosophical to me. Like, when are you an adult? I don't know. I love teaching it in person, but I think this is going to be a really great semester as we kind of tackle large issues. Maybe you'll have a little bit more time and space because of the pandemic to kind of think about the things about, should a 14-year-old be tried as an adult? Things like that. Or my favorite one, people always think I'm a kook for saying this. I think that voting rights should begin at birth. And I don't think that they should ever be stripped away, and you should have them until death. Because I think that it's discrimination for children not to have the same voting rights as other citizens. And we'll go a little bit into that one as well, because people always think that I'm a kook for saying that, but I will tell you why. Maybe I will convince you, probably not. This is our proposal paper. So I put this in for you guys. This is due way down in November, so don't worry about it this week. We're going to be working about this all semester long. I'm going to have more time to kind of show you this. It's going to be at least 2 to 5 pages. It's going to be a very succinct proposal paper using the pre-seed proceed model. We're going to go more into this as we've gone through pre-seed proceed, and I've kind of gone over the parts you need to know, which is evaluation for this. The only thing is it's going to be APA, theory, data, research, lots of evidence and understanding, because you're going to go into 3 or 4 where you're going to do something kind of similar to this, except it's going to be real. So this is kind of your trial run or dry run to kind of get through this. I'm more than willing to give you formal feedback on this. You just got to shoot me an email at least a week and a half beforehand. Give it to me the night before I'm asleep. 3 kids, if it's midnight, I've hopefully been asleep for a while. This is the rubric for it as well, but once again, we're going to go into this in depth. These are the pre-seed proceed model reflections. The points are off on this, so I will fix this, but those reflections where you are telling me about the research in the article, that's what that's for. And then the adolescent development paper. This is due pretty soon. It's going to be due in October. So students are going to introduce the age period and domain. So you're going to choose an age period. Young adolescence, middle adolescence, late adolescence, and then emerging adulthood as well. It's going to, you're going to tell me in the introduction as well about the domain or development, as you might want to call it: fine motor, cognitive, receptive language, self-help and adaptive skill, racial, linguistic identity, anything like that. You're going to describe both the age period and the domain chosen. So if you chose like early adulthood, you're going to be talking about 13, 14-year-olds, middle school age children, what they might be doing at that age, and what the domain that you chose, maybe racial or linguistic identity, and how and that age as well. Then you're going to just, in the body, so this is the research page part, you're going to describe the domain and its importance in adolescence. You're going to overview common milestones in that age period. So if you were looking at racial identity, we do have some milestones or theory behind those ideas. So you would be telling me about that. You would be telling me about why this domain is important in early childhood. Knowing who you are racially or community-wise is very important for all of us, but specifically important in adolescence because ... all of the research you've done. You could describe possible, this is not, one might not always be in a domain, but there could be issues or deficiencies. So let's say you're not hitting your milestones. Maybe your receptive language or written language is not what we would expect for somebody who's 14 or 15. You would tell me how that could affect a child's development, or you could talk to me about if you were doing social and emotional development with good old Eric Erickson, then you could be talking about how trauma might affect emotional development, mental health, why that would affect somebody who's in identity stage of Erickson's development. And then you're also going to tell me about, you're going to tell me how a professional could support an adolescent or their family in increasing competence in this domain. So a social worker, somebody in healthcare, public health nurse, a teacher, a principal, a nonprofit worker, bus driver, anybody who works with kids, could support an adolescent in increasing competence in that domain. So if they were missing domains, if they had deficiencies in that domain, what would be ways that you could support that? And then a conclusion, a regular conclusion where you analyze and conclude the paper and draw appropriate conclusions. So you're analyzing when you're talking about domains and age development. So this would be an example. Maybe I would talk about fine motor skills in emerging adulthood. So I would tell you what emerging adulthood is, what theorists think it is. You know, maybe it's 18 to 25. Fine motor skills, what are fine motor skills? What are using your fingers and your hands and your wrists? So if you were looking at occupational therapy as something you were wanting to go into, this would be a great thing to write about. In the body of the paper, I would talk about what grip strength is, how a lot of emerging adults are lacking in grip strength because we're no longer hanging from things, we're not weight bearing on our own hands. How a sedentary lifestyle, like playing video games, texting is a very limited amount of movement. We're not doing a lot of other things that we should be doing with our hands, like hanging once again, which our ancestors would have done, more traditionally as we were climbing trees in order to get food and things like that. So how it can, and then how you would support an emerging adult in increasing grip strength through weight bearing, weight training, and hanging as well. That would be generally what my paper would look like. I chose a domain, I chose an age group, I've told you about what it is, I've told you about some issues that might arise, and then also how you can get better at it through weight bearing, weight training, and hanging as well. So that is it for the class. So that's the development paper. This is the larger paper that we're going to do more in class with more videos and things like that, and that is done way down in, I think, the last week of November, first week of December. This is the class schedule. I'm going to go back up to our assignments. Biggest thing is log in every week where you will see me in some kind of short course content, all PowerPoints, readings, I'll have assignments, and then you're also keeping your eye on your model reflections, your proposal paper, and your adolescent development paper. This week is very easy. First of all, don't buy a textbook. We're zero textbook. I will give you everything that you need to read. Second, read the syllabus. Third, watch the video. If you're watching this, you've already done that. And then fourth, you're just going to do a forum discussion where you're going to introduce yourself because I want to know who you are. I want to be able to see your face. I want to get a read of how the classroom is going to be and who is in my classroom and what your interests are, so that we can continue with this class as well. So that is 303. I will see you guys online. Any questions, concerns, anything, please email me. All right, see you later, guys.